This short presentation should help you with your assignments for this class. It is impossible to talk about observing without including assessment. Basically, for your child's study project, this is what you will be doing. The project concentrates on the observing component, but your data analysis interpretations are a form of assessment. A quote from your textbook. Developmentally appropriate and effective assessment is one of your most important responsibilities. Assessment occurs through observation. Learning the technique of observing is paramount to your career in early childhood. Let's spend a few minutes on assessment, since the emphasis has become assessment measures even in our early childhood classrooms. There are many reasons, as you can see, to assess children. As your textbook defines assessment, it is ongoing and continuous and occurs predominantly still in our early childhood classrooms through observation. We do it to help our children, to support and scaffold their learning. This is the official definition of assessment. A child is not assessed through one measure. As we progress in this course and discuss standardized measures, it will be important to remember this. Okay, you observe and interpret the data. Are you done there? No. A quality teacher always listens to her heart. How does the information I have relate to my program? More importantly, how does it relate to this child? Sometimes we can have a mass of data and our teaching side says, nope, I'm going to try something entirely different with this child. As we move into more inclusive programs, as more and more children seem to warrant the label of special needs, you may find this happening more often. I'm not saying ignore the data. I'm just saying use it as a part of your overall planning strategies. Okay, observing. These are important questions to ask yourself. Always be objective. What does that mean? It means being descriptive, not judgmental. Describe exactly what you see, not what you think you should see, or not what you think you hope to see. It is not easy being objective. Okay, what exactly is objective? Simply the facts, ma'am. Just what you see. Descriptive. Subjective, on the other hand, uses your personal judgment. It is personal. She was being mean. He was sad. Much of what we say is subjective. We just often don't realize it. What do you see here? This is considered an optical illusion because there are several pictures that can be seen. Proof that we can look at the exact same thing and see something entirely different. My granddaughter was helping me do research for this presentation and insisted that I show this optical illusion. I see a beautiful woman in a mirror. She saw the skeleton. I like to think that I'm very close to my granddaughter, but we both saw very different things. Interesting, isn't it? What we see and observe influences who we are. Our culture gives us eyes to see with. Our beliefs influence what we see. As you observe and reflect on what you see, try to determine if it's because of something you believe. You will create a guidance discipline philosophy for this class. Reflect on how much of that is created by what you believe. We don't become great observers overnight. This is a process that you will work on all semester. If you look at things as a child, sometimes that will give you an entirely different perspective. Let's take a look at a few observational statements. Is statement 1 objective or subjective? Very objective because it's very descriptive. You have simply what Tiffany is doing. The second statement, on the other hand, is subjective. You've labeled Tiffany bored. How do you really know that Tiffany is bored? Paul was a good boy today. The word good gives it away. Very subjective. Better to describe something Paul did today. Paul read the letters in his name 4 times today. Margaret got mad at Jane today. Another subjective word, mad. Better to describe the situation. Margaret said to Jane, I don't like it when you take my toys. Samuel lost his temper. Also subjective. We may feel that we know what Samuel's temper is, but it is always better to describe it. When the block tower fell over, Samuel threw the remaining blocks. Susie made a mess. I've had children that dripped paint all over the floor, smeared it with their feet, and when I said, "You've made a mess," they say, "No, I created a floor painting." Again, subjective. Cassandra acted happy. What is happy? What does this mean? Better to describe. Cassandra's Aunt Josie arrived to pick her up. Cassandra ran to her with a smile on her face and gave her a big hug. Getting the general idea? Your textbook gives you several options to use when observing children. It will be your choice as to what to use for your child study project. You may use several if you want. The ones with asterisks are those that I am encouraging you to give a try. These are the steps listed in your textbook for conducting successful observations. So certainly plan ahead, conduct the observation, interpret what you saw, and then implement the plan, which for the child study project will be your description of activities for each domain. The major project for this class, worth 25% of your grade, due the last week of class, is your child study project. You will observe a child for several weeks and write a final detailed report. Please refer to the parameters paper in the module. Yes, you need to observe a child in a classroom. So if you are not teaching, make arrangements to visit a classroom on a regular basis. Some of you may decide to do volunteer work in that classroom. Great! Some of you may even be offered a job in that classroom. Even better. So think of this as a wonderful opportunity. And always remember, sometimes you need to look at things from a different perspective. Let's get started.